I was sitting in the doctor's waiting room when my phone started ringing. It was my only daughter, Angela. Her voice sounded odd, distant, almost icy, as she said, "Mom, we're leaving for a trip to Europe tomorrow. I already sold your beach house and your car. We needed the money. Bye." Then she hung up. Just like that. 45 years of raising her, sacrificing everything for her happiness, and she tossed me aside as if I were nothing. But instead of breaking down, I took a deep breath and smiled, because there was something my dear daughter didn't know. My name is Antonia Brooks. I'm 71 years old, and up until that moment, I truly believed I knew my daughter. 6 months earlier, I had become a widow. My husband, Robert, passed away from a heart attack while we were having breakfast, the same breakfast we had shared together every morning for 45 years. That morning, he had poured me coffee with cream, served toast, kissed my forehead, and whispered, "Good morning, my love." Those were the last words he ever said to me. Since then, Angela had seemed to be more involved in my life, or at least that's what I thought. She visited 3 times a week, helped me organize the funeral, and even accompanied me to the grocery store. She also suggested I visit a doctor for a general checkup. "Mom, you have to take better care of yourself now that you're alone," she would say, with a smile I believed came from love, but now I realized it was born from convenience. The beach house had been our little haven for decades. Robert and I bought it when Angela was 15, after years of hard work and sacrifice. Every summer, we would go there, building memories, celebrating birthdays, and spending Christmases by the sea. Angela would bring her boyfriends and later her husband, Edward. I would cook, clean, and do everyone's laundry. It was our family tradition. I never imagined she would see that home as nothing more than a pile of cash. And the car, that old Ford pickup Robert cherished as if it were his own child. He'd wash it every Sunday, change the oil without fail, and always parked it under the same tree in the yard. Angela knew how much that truck meant to me. It was the last physical reminder of him. His scent still lingered on the seats. When Angela hung up, I sat there in that uncomfortable green plastic chair, surrounded by coughing patients and murmurs of pain. And for the first time in months, I didn't cry. Something unexpected stirred within me, a calmness I hadn't felt since Robert's death. Because at that moment, I remembered something I had completely forgotten. 3 days before Robert died, he had handed me a manila envelope. "Antonia, put this in your dresser drawer. If anything happens to me, open it later, but only when you feel ready." I had tucked it away without much thought. After the funeral and all the chaos that followed, I simply forgot. But now, that envelope was waiting for me back home. When I got home, I went straight to my bedroom. I opened the dresser drawer, and there it was, the manila envelope, exactly where I had left it months ago. My hands trembled slightly as I picked it up. I could feel several papers inside. On the front, in Robert's neat handwriting, was my name. I sat on the bed we had shared for so many years and took a deep breath. Outside, the daylight was fading, and the familiar evening shadows began filling the house, shadows that no longer frightened me. Slowly, I opened the envelope, almost as if I were unwrapping a long-awaited birthday present. What I found inside left me breathless. There were legal documents, property deeds, bank certificates, and a handwritten letter from Robert. My eyes filled with tears as soon as I recognized his handwriting. "My dearest Antonia, if you are reading this, it means I'm no longer by your side. Forgive me for not telling you everything while I was alive. I only wanted to protect you from unnecessary worries. Over the years, I invested our savings in different properties and small businesses. We don't just own the beach house. We have 6 more properties, including the apartment building where Angela and Edward live. We also have shares in 3 companies that are worth more than you can imagine. You are wealthy, my love. You've always been rich. Now it's just official on paper." My hands shook as I looked through the documents. There were deeds to homes scattered across different neighborhoods, a downtown condo, a small seaside motel, and indeed, a 20-story apartment building, the very one where my daughter lived. Robert had secretly been the owner for over a decade, but everything was registered under a company name I had never heard of. And according to the papers, I was the sole heir of that company. There were also bank statements, accounts I never even knew existed, holding numbers that didn't seem real. Robert had worked as a bus driver for 40 years, but apparently, he had also been a remarkably shrewd investor. Every penny we saved, every sacrifice we made, he had quietly multiplied, and I had never suspected a thing. In his letter, Robert explained that he'd kept it all a secret because he didn't want me to stress about money, or for Angela to discover the truth about our finances. "You know our daughter, Antonia," he wrote, "if she ever found out how much we truly had, her behavior would change. I want her to love us for who we are, not for what we own." How ironic. Our daughter had abandoned us believing we had nothing, when in reality, we had everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. I wandered through the house, brushing my fingers over the furniture and old decorations Angela had always mocked for being outdated. I stared at the family photos hanging on the wall, especially the one where she was 5 years old, laughing on Robert's lap. Where had that sweet little girl gone? When did she turn into someone so cold, so calculating?